Here, we'll just pile this up next to the other thing that Brody wrecked.
Unbelievable.
You ready for this?
It's kind of scary to me.
I can't wait for you to drive this thing up there on the slippery deck. You know, when I picked that thing up, it was raining. That's how I know we have to use the winch.
We need more traction bars, like right here.
Steel on steel just don't work good.
No, it don't work.
So, we're obviously done with the Packer. And the guy called and wants it back. Since we rented this, I guess they need it, so we're gonna bring her back. Drive! If you guys got a gooseneck trailer, I highly recommend putting a winch on it. We use this stupid winch way more than I ever thought we would when we put it on.
Comes in handy.
It comes in very handy.
How did you strap this bad boy last time?
In a unique type of way.
Was it unique?
Yeah. Nothing better than rusty chains. All right, I think you're good. Have a fun road trip.
I will.
Probably be driving like 35 miles an hour. Paid by the hour.
Yeah, paid by the hour. That's why you take your time.
The migration of the bobcats. Isn't it beautiful? So, our goal here is to get some more not class 5, pit run gravel that's left over from what they had to dig out to form this all up and make this happen. They had to remove a bunch of gravel. So, we're gonna get some put in here, try to get rid of the pit run and then bring class 5 in eventually, probably after the grain bin is put up so that we cover up all the bolts.
Well, what's the game plan? Just start dumping copious amounts and see how it turns out?
Yeah, we got to keep in mind we got to get class 5 over this after they build the bin and cover up all the bolts. So just dump some and then we'll have the baby bobcat maneuver it. Look at him. Look at him. He's ready.
Rough in here.
Wow!
So, I've come to get this. They've gotten one pile moved. They're working on moving another pile, but once the piles are gone, I'm going to try and scrape with this big Johnson blade to try to get the rocks so it's all gravel, but Pit Run has big rocks in it versus Crush Class 5. So I kind of want to get the rocks out so that we don't drag them all over the yard. And so, like right here, this has been a Class 5 driveway for a long time, and they've been piling it on there, driving them in. So I'm trying to scrape this off, get it level, especially since Steve's hauling beans right now. So, and there's where they were cleaning the cement trucks out, so they're cleaning that up, gonna dump that in the dump cart. I'm getting this pretty good, actually. If you really wanted to use this thing aggressively, you'd need a bigger tractor than this one. I'll just say that, because you can fill and cut like unreal. Well, I think that this is about all the better we can do right now, because I do want to get probably 6 inches at least of Class 5 over this. We do have, I don't know, maybe 2 semi-loads too much of Pit Run as of now. I think if we get a couple loads, I think that'll have to be landscaped a little bit different to get more of a slope, so we ain't driving on the cement or the footer of this. We're gonna want maybe a foot of gravel in there, so we'll have to probably extend our quote-unquote ramp up to the pits a little bit farther than it used to be, and probably end up backfilling up against this more. But until the bend's up and about, I don't know, 1,000,000 bolts are laying on the ground here, we're gonna want to cover them up. So I think we're done with this for now. Oh, the Swede is, it's feeding time.
It's feeding time.
It's feeding time.
11:58, it's feeding time.
It's amazing how well he knows his body. Time to eat?
Well, I'm 2 minutes early, but it felt like it was time to eat.
This is what Dad was doing yesterday. The weeds were getting a little out of hand, and for whatever reason, normally it's water hemp, but this year it's grass pressure out here. Why? I have no clue why the grass would be out of control, but he was dragging this, and we were gonna spray it, but he couldn't handle it anymore. After dinner projects. So he sent Brody out to mow the driveway. Brody! Brody! That might be the end of her life.
I was wondering what the shaking sound was when I was mowing.
It was shaking?
Just thought it was normal. Feature here with this old unit.
You thought the shaking was normal. Well, that's nice. That's, I'm sure, out of the gearbox. The output shaft out of the gearbox. It wasn't holding on by much anymore. Looks like we got 1 brake, 2 brakes,
There's
3
there.
brakes. She's totaled.
I had to lift this up by myself.
I seen one of these on Marketplace the other day. I was surprised and disheartened that it was only worth $1,500 or $1,800.
What?
I seen one on Facebook Marketplace the other
whole
day.
thing?
The whole unit. And now you ruined it. Well, it sure would be easy to replace the seal now. Maybe that's why the seal was leaking. It was twisting. It twisted right off at the seal. I bet that's why it was leaking so bad. Okay, that's part of the gearbox, which I suspected, which is this piece. So that's got to come off. These 4 bolts, and it should come out pretty easy.
Now it's showing its age.
So back in the day when Grandpa used to operate equipment, he broke this off. And so then when I was, I don't know, 17, that's what I came up with to gusset it up. Multiple pieces of flat iron and bent it in a vise. And that's held up since then. But that was a minor problem compared to this problem.
Wow, you're so strong.
It's about leverage.
You're about there.
She's shelled. The whole thing's ruined. Well, that's about all the farther we can go on this project. As of now, we got the gearbox out. I've called Titan, which I guess is a Woods dealer, and they are looking into if it's available, how much they are. As we were internet searching for it, we found the whole complete unit for how much? $3,000, $2,500, $3,000.
Good price.
That we have bought a lot of stuff that fits in the palm of your hand for parts that are over $1,000. So that looks like, do I dare say,
I think it's
2,000?
at least $2,100, $2,200.
Well, we'll find out. Okay, on to the next project. That's not only is that just disappointing, is we do a lot of mowing for like our landlords that are retired or don't have equipment anymore, like do their driveways, especially before winter. Our own driveway that's a half mile, we gotta fix it or replace it, but I'm guessing fixing is probably the best option. So that brings us to the new well, which we are all really, really loving. But the lawn, Grandma's not happy. Not happy. Big trenches, payloader ruts, of course, across the lawn.
What are you thinking?
Well, I know what I want to do and what you want to do and what everyone wants to do, but can't seem to convince some people, the grandparents, to remove the grass here so that we can have more room to back out. So
Tell them to go to Duluth for a week.
they were just there. And
I know, we
we
should
dropped
get it.
the
We
ball
should
on the job. On top of that, I think there's a lot of wires through this area that wouldn't probably be deep enough. So get the loader, some black dirt, you with a rake.
You think so?
I don't know. It's what Dad said to do. I've got the third load of dirt, and it's gumbo mud. It's about chunks of mud that big that Brody can't work with the rake. We're farmers. It's kind of hard to buy dirt, although this quality is quite poor. I'm trying not to jab in too deep and just kind of trying to take the edge of the pile off where it's maybe a little drier. It really gets chunky if you bite in too deep. Landscaping with mud works really well.
Don't work at all.
It might have to dry some.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of, just spreading it out a little bit and let it dry.
I'd love to use the box scraper, or the Johnson, but it's so big in this small area, it just ain't gonna work.
Go get your little tractor and your little box scraper.
Actually, that would probably work really, really well here. Boy, we've made things from bad to worse here, I think.
It looked really good, now it looks really, really bad.
You know what?
We still can.
If we tell them we did our best and they reject the job, we maybe can dig it all out.
And this is all better it can get.
I might go as far as to say we jumped the gun on this project. It's too wet, and now we've compacted it.
Now we're doomed.
The Iowa boys would really be disappointed. Oh gosh, Dad is not going to be happy. Well, that's a project that's going to have to be completed after that dries out some, or we get better dirt, or we decide a different choice of project, but it's too wet. It's too wet. Well guys, it's the next day, and we started out with like trying to service grain bends, checking gearboxes, oil levels in all the power sweeps. We did one grain bin, and Steve is hauling soybeans out, and we're sweeping that bin out, and the gearbox actually failed in that grain bin, something we're trying to prevent in all the other grain bins, which we did do last summer, but whatever. She decided to go out. So who knows why, but it's out, and we've got to We have got a mess now. Oh, Brody.
No, this is not my fault.
You and Eric maintained these last summer. Well, nonetheless, the shaft pulled right out of that when we lifted on the power sweep here. So if anyone wants to know how a power sweep works, up close and personal, the auger that empties the grain is right here. That's what augers all the grain out. And then there's a lever on the outside of the grain bin that engages right here, this lever here. It's unbolted now. And that engages this gearbox, which then comes up with a stub shaft about 4 or 6 inches long, which then goes into another gearbox just like that on the end of this. So Eric and Jordan are up there trying to get the shafts pulled apart, because this shaft is connected to that gearbox, which is still good. And this gearbox has to come out, and I guess there's an update kit for this that hopefully the Ben dealer has on hand. He thinks they do, but they're not at the shop right now. So we're just working on getting the old junk tore apart right now.
I guess so.
Brody, this is exactly how me and Chris lost the pry bars in the grain cart.
It happened again.
See, look at that.
You got,
Oop, there's no pry bar.
you got 2 in here?
I have got two.
Fell out.
There she is. What you've just seen here, we've been working at for what, an hour and a half to get to this point?
No.
Yes, because we had to first shovel by hand for a long time.
How do you
to
get this out?
Access. I don't know. You're leaking oil.
What?
There's oil in it. Some.
You're heavy.
Really?
Twist it, yeah, twist it like that. Oh. Now we're gonna jam it in there and not get it out. Oh! I think we're gonna have to take that
It's a
plate
finger
off.
pincher.
Sorry.
Oh, it's stuck now.
I think we gotta take that plate off.
I don't want to.
Well, to ease.
Oh, there it is.
Wow!
Okay. Listen to the... It's not junk at all. There's just bearings floating in there. Okay, I think we're done in here until reassembly time. So what I think happens to these little guys is the upper bearing goes out, because that's all just totally honed out. And where the shaft comes up through the floor, there's supposed to be a hole about that big. Well, it's now that big. So then beans were going down in. Once the seal's out, then the bean matter turns to looking like never sees in there, and then it just totally self explodes inside. We got it out too. Now we gotta wait for parts.
Good. Yeah, this thing's pretty beat up. She was bouncing around in there.
Look at how ground up that is.
See, if we had a lathe, we can make this ourselves.
Here, we'll just pile this up next to the other thing that Brody wrecked.
Unbelievable.
So, a couple hours have gone by. Dad picked this up when he was in town. That's the new gearbox. This is the top one, but basically the same one. So they beefed it up a lot. Only downside, we have to do a lot of work to make this go back in the grain bin, which is less than ideal, but doing it now, hopefully we don't have to do this for a long time or ever again. Okay, I'm going to try and quickly sum up what we have to do. So this is where the old gearbox came through the back of this, in this slotted area. We have to cut the back of this out in like a V-type shape with a Sawzall or a grinder. And then we have to take this shaft off, which I'm hoping to be able to do without pulling the head off. because that would be a major pain, and pulling the auger out. That's my hope, but it comes with a new stub shaft that's a different length and a different drive mechanism. So yeah, let's get to it. Hours have passed, multiple blow-ups have happened. I hope we have all of our tools. Darkness is setting in, and we have one more project to do, and that is connect this to the existing or the old gearbox that is still good. We've only had to take apart and reassemble 2 things twice. We'll update you when it's running.
It's working!
Well, we did get it going. This needed to be adjusted. It now engages the sweep opposite of what it used to. So that is what it is. I took my knife and scratched off when it said pull to engage and adjusted. Yeah, it works. That's all that matters. Here we are. Took a massive turn for the worst.
Yes, it did.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time.